Welcome to Hustle and Heart, finding success and fulfillment on your own terms. The podcast that's here to educate, inspire, and help you step into your power con mucho amor. As a first-gen Latina, I know what it's like to hustle hard, break generational cycles, and still wonder if I'm doing enough. I welcome you to this space, a place where we drop this BS, have raw conversations about mindset, success, and creating a life that's fulfilling to you. Think of this as your weekly cafecito chat with your long-distance, ambitious bestie where we talk about the real struggles, wins, and mindset shifts that actually make a difference. No fluff, no gimmicks, just honest conversations that help you take real steps towards the life that you want. So grab that cafecito, take a deep breath, and let's get into it. Welcome back to Hustle and Heart, finding success on your own terms. Today's guest is the incredible Solimar Sol Williams, an Afro-Latina visionary with a story as inspiring as her brand. Born and raised in the Dominican Republic, Sol made the brave move to New York at just 17 years old to chase her dream of becoming a fashion designer. Years later, her journey brought her to California, where she founded her amazing brand, Unbothered. Sol's philosophy is simple yet profound. To achieve happiness and chase your dreams, you have to stay unbothered. Unbothered by outside troubles and focused on what truly makes you happy. This resonates so much. Her story is one of the most resilient, creative, and honestly self-believing, and I know you're going to walk away inspired to do the same in your own life. Let's dive into Sol's journey, the creation of Unbothered, and how she's empowering others to stay true to themselves while pursuing their dreams. Welcome, Sol.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so happy to have you. Now, you bounce around. Where are you? Where are you today? Okay, I thought you were in the East Coast because I know that you...
I was just in New York last week. Yeah.
There we go.
Might be in the East Coast again next month. So
I hear you.
A lot of back and forth here.
Collect those miles. rack up those miles. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time because I really want you to have the mic and share your inspiring story because I know that growing up, if I would have heard this episode or would have heard from you, I think it would have probably lit the fire way sooner than I allowed it on my own. So without further ado, can you share your experience and just how you became where you are today with Unbothered?
For sure. So, as you mentioned, I grew up in the Dominican Republic. I always was into fashion. I loved looking at the magazines. I loved putting outfits together. I was very particular about the things I wore, the confection of them. It would drive me crazy that sometimes I would get clothes and they were like, the shirts were like a little too short, like the confection wasn't right. And I will make mood boards, and I even took a quick fashion class and started drawing garments and things. And I even drew my quinceañera garment that didn't come to life, but I drew it. And so Unbothered was kind of the next logical step. I always wanted to be in the fashion industry. The reason I don't think I was ready to do it sooner than I did because I worked many jobs that helped me understand what production is, how to speak with factories, what MOQs are, what quality control is. And so I feel that Unbothered came at the right time into my life because I was also struggling with what type of fashion I wanted to put out there, right? Trends come and go. Fast fashion is a huge thing. And fashion can be a very toxic industry and place to be. And so I wanted to join and fill that gap and try to make a change through fashion. So I put out a brand mainly as a consumer and not as a designer. And what I mean by that is that I focus on the quality of the material that I'm putting out there. I focus on the hard-earned money that people are spending to buy my brand. That doesn't pass me because I'm a working class as well. So I know how much you work and save and prepare to buy that one piece sometimes, right? And I wanted the brand to be environmentally conscious by having really high quality products that are going to last you a long time. So you don't have to continue to purchase the same product over and over and over again, right? So I wanted to tackle fashion in a way where it feels like a safe place. Everybody's welcome, no matter what you identify as, no matter how you like to dress. You can dress this up, down, wear them to sleep, wear them inside the house, wear them at the gym. Like you can wear these at any time you want in your life. I've worn my clothing brand to some of the most important events of my life. And so I feel that by creating that space, we're kind of changing the narrative in fashion. And that's really what I wanted to do with Unbothered.
I love that. How did you, I mean, for those that want to go ahead and start a fashion brand, right? Like, where do you even begin?
So I think the first step is to know what impact you want your brand to have. Right. So what is your ethos? What is the brand that you're putting out? What does it represent for you? I think that's for any brand that you're putting out. I think that's the first step and the most important step, because once you have that, you'll have a clear vision of the direction you want to go in. And I think that, again, in fashion, because trends move so fast, anybody who gets into fashion wants to quickly get in it and just like put something out there. And I feel that when you take that time to see who your brand is. And this was an advice that a dear friend of mine gave me way before I started the brand. And she's a huge brand owner herself. She was like, who's your brand? Who's your client? Write them down. Write down the characteristics of the person who will purchase your brand. And that's how you come up with a name. And that's how you come up with your brand concept. And so that's exactly what I did. I wrote down a person. I wrote down all the qualities. They dress however they want to dress. They don't care. They're happy. They only do what makes them happy. They see fashion as something that's fun and creative versus something that's constrictive. They like to be comfortable. And that's where the name Unbothered came about. So I think taking that time at the beginning, taking the baby steps, learning to crawl before you walk, before you run, it's very, very important. So that would be my biggest advice, is to be clear on what you want your brand to be, because everything else kind of falls into place after that.
And not to be, well, I will totally be my marketing nerd right now, but that one step helped you achieve that. But then also it helps you build, it weaves out the foundation of your brand later on, moving on, when you want to start doing social media, when you want to start building out your website. Having what you did in the marketing world is literally creating your consumer personas, right? And that is how you learn to figure out who your audience is, yes, and build out like the ecosystem, but then how you talk to them, right? Because the way you talk to that individual is not how you're going to talk to somebody that is a complete opposite, that doesn't have those worries, that doesn't have those interests or behaviors, right? So knowing who you talk to is super important when you have just a business overall.
Exactly.
But then it is crucial. It's like pillars. It really is. It's figuring out. And then also, too, you learn exactly what areas gaps there may be for that particular individual. The more, I would always say, the more specific you can get, the better. Is that how you did it?
Yes. So down to the pricing. So again, what's lacking in the individual's life? If I'm putting myself in the average consumer's shoes, we're not rich, right? We're working class. Why wouldn't that individual buy my brand? Pricing, right? There's a gap in the market. You can either get the very cheap quality clothing that you wash once and it's gone, right? Or you wash it maybe a couple times and it's gone. And those are $20, $15, so on and so forth, right? And then you have the $90, $100, $150 items that are capsule items. You'll have them for hopefully for a long time, right? Based on the price range, based on the material composition, right? And I was like, well, I don't want the $20 shirt that's going to wash off once. And I don't have the means to always buy these $150 items, right? And so that individual needed that in between pricing with the quality that I offer. So it does, the more you narrow it down, the more things start to come up, the more questions start to come up for yourself as a brand owner, right? Of like what's missing, what you need to add, what direction you need to head in, what people are looking for. So it is definitely a crucial step to starting any business, I would say.
Did you do it all by yourself, or did you have like anyone helping you when you started?
All by my lump sum.
So talk about that. Take us to those moments, girlfriend. Take us back to that.
It was an up and down. So a lot of, and maybe people who follow the brand do know this, but I started the brand in 2020. So if you see like my branding and the establishment of the brand, it'll say 2020. right? But if you look at my anniversaries, there's a year and a half of like kind of discrepancy. And the reason for that is because that's how long it took me to find the quality that I wanted to put out. So I was going the third party way. I was also working on a full-time job at the moment. So I had limited time to do what I needed to do. So I was trying to contact local businesses, trying to get shirts produced within the US and doing all that stuff. Needless to say, I did an entire production. And when I got it, I was like, this is not the product that I want to put out. Like, this is just not it. It's not giving me the fuzzy feelings. How can I sell this to somebody else? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, start from scratch. And I was like, what do you do at your job? You talk to factories. Find a factory. So I started looking for factories. So then that starts a whole cycle of like talking to factories, negotiating, sampling. And I don't think a lot of people know truly how much it goes into creating a brand. But from me working in a space where I did sourcing, again, that comes with like you said, the timing it's always what it needs to be. I had been preparing to do this for a few years at my current job. And so when I started reaching out to factories, I knew the lingo. It wasn't intimidating. I knew that I need to do sampling to see the garments, to try them on, to wash them, to see how they work. So that was, I feel, what truly gave me confidence as a business owner and what let me know that I can do this, because it is very, very intimidating, and doing it all by yourself without anything to fall back on, with your own funds, your own time. I did everything from pictures to website to concepts to drawing the logos to approving the logos to getting the mock-up. I did everything myself. And so it's very overwhelming, but I think a huge thing that I told myself is like, so long as you can get the quality, everything else you can fix along the line. So yes, maybe your first photo shoot won't be like this huge, perfect production, right? The important thing is to get photos. You'll sell the product. Just get the photos, right? Maybe the website is not the best thing, right? I started with Squarespace and then I moved over to Shopify because I figured Shopify was better for e-commerce, right? So like, I think that what holds a lot of people back from starting a business is those difficult stages or those figuring it out stages. And to me, I just took it as a learning curve, right? It's just a decision and then I can change it later on. It's not forever. Nothing is permanent, right? So it was very intimidating. It was very nerve-wracking. It was very time-consuming, but it all paid off in the end because I have the brand that I'm proud to put out there.
Yeah, you birthed it. You took time with it. I always say Rome wasn't built overnight. You know what I mean? It took years for that beauty to be what it is. But I will say, out of your story, what I think is super awesome is that you utilized when things didn't go your way right away, which is expected. We can't expect things to always be our way, right? But you didn't allow that to completely knock you down and give up on your dreams. If anything, you just stood your ground and you took in your own talents. You took what you already got, like Mariah Carey, when she's like, I'm doing the best I can with what it is I got. You know, when she got the meme. Literally, I love that meme because it's not just New Year's. It's like every day of my life. But especially from hearing your story, it's like you did the best you could with what you got and then you transformed it. And although it didn't happen overnight, but like you making that shift in your mindset of, okay, that's just a challenge. Wipe that out. Keep moving. What's the next solution? And then using the way that your 9 to 5, your job, you know, to help you to get insights, to figure out how you would do things your way and connections. Like, I feel that's another thing people sometimes forget, that you have these innate traits and talents that other people have paid you to do for them. Yes. You know, that you can kind of, if it's not apples to apples, at least you can learn from it, tweak it, and make it work for you. And it sounds like that's what you did.
Yeah, no, and I 100% think that nothing happens in life without a purpose, right?
Yes.
So everything that happens to you, good or bad, it's leading you to a bigger purpose. It's leading you to your next step. And so when I look back at all those jobs I worked, I learned so much from every single job. So much that helped me build my business. You know, so I always tell people, because people are like, you worked on so many fields, you've done whatever. And one thing my grandma always says is that you can never learn enough.
So
You
true.
can never learn enough.
So true.
And so I like when I started doing my business and I was talking to my husband, I was like, I'm chatting with factories. So mind you, it's like midnight. I'm texting. Obviously the factories are in China. So like I'm texting these people at midnight my time, right? He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm talking to the factories. They don't want to do samples, but I'm trying to get them to do samples. And he's like, do you know how to do all this? And I was like, yeah, this is what I do at work. Like I talk to factories. And so and so like, you know, I was like, it was something that at first I wasn't thinking about. I wasn't thinking that I had all these acquired talents, right? Or all this knowledge that I've acquired over the years. And once I took that first step, I was like, girl, you can figure it out. You can figure it out. Whatever you don't know, you can learn, but use what you've learned because you were working for all these people, making them money, making their company successful. Do that for yourself now. So once you have that shift where like, you're like, I know this, I got this, like takes you so many places.
It's that believing in yourself right there. I had this conversation too, not too long ago about if there's one thing the world of being a small business owner, self-employed, 1099 or freelancer, whatever, like is if you don't believe in yourself, you're screwed. Like you will not go far and you're already cutting yourself short. And for those people that are thinking of like, oh, should I do this? Should I not? You best check yourself and see if you believe in yourself first, I think. My personal opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and what I love, so I don't mean to interrupt you, but what I love telling people is like some people will come up to me and it's like, oh my God, you're so confident, like you just dive in head first. And I'm like, well, first of all, I personally feel that the first step is the hardest. And so if I dive in head first, I've already took the hardest step. Yes, I might fall. Yes, something bad may happen. Who knows? But nothing is that deep, to be honest. As long as I'm well, my family is well, everybody's healthy, nothing is that deep, right? But what I tell people is that I'm good at faking it, right?
Talk more about that, Sol.
So I believe that if I go in with confidence, even if I personally don't feel confident, right? Even if I'm shaking in my boots, even if I'm like trembling, if I go in and I'm like, well, let's fake it, girl. Showbiz. Put it on. Turn it on, right? That's, I feel, what can propel you as well. Because you might not be confident in the topic you're talking about. You might not know enough yet, right? There's always going to be somebody who knows more than you, who's better than you, who has more than you. That's always going to happen 100% of the time. Right? I was actually watching a thing with Anne Hathaway where she said she was a replacement invite to an event because Sarah Jessica Parker couldn't make it. So Anne Hathaway's a huge actress, fashion icon, all of the above, but Sarah Jessica Parker is higher than her, right? And so if you sit there and think of these people know more than me, there's always going to be somebody who knows more than you. Even if you are not confident in what you know, walk in with confidence because confidence will take you so far. Even if you don't know what you're talking about, even if you're like not very well trained in the subject or whatever you may feel. If you fake it, it's going to come through. Like I've talked to so many people. Like I work in real estate, right? And I work in a very specific sector of real estate. And I've been on phone calls and they're like, oh my God, how long have you been doing this for? And I'm like, a couple months. And they're like, you sound like, you know, your stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know, and it's mostly me faking it. It's just a tone. It's a voice tone, right? The way I'm talking to you now, if I came to you and I was like, Vanessa, yes, this podcast, like, right? It comes off different versus I'm coming to you assertive, right? Yeah. So I always tell people, confidence comes. It will come to you. You'll get more confident if you know more about your subject, but fake it. Fake the confidence. It's okay. It's okay to not always have it all together. You can fake it sometimes, you know? You see it all the time online. Instagram is a highlight.
Yes. Literally.
We all fake it for the gram. Do the same thing in your real life. Walk into that conference room. Walk into that meeting. Walk into whatever it is that you're going in life with confidence, even if you're faking the confidence, because that will help you get further as well.
What would your words be as a, you know, like a big sister to someone who did that, right? That they put themselves out there, they took the chance, and then it didn't go their way. What would be your words of wisdom?
Try it again.
There we go. I love that.
Try it again. Yeah, because it might have not been the right time. It might have just not been the right opportunity. There might be something bigger waiting for you. Again, I don't see anything as a fail, but more as a learning lesson, right? None of us, let's be real, none of us know what we're doing in life in general, right?
And never before, especially now. Like, what other generations had COVID? What other generations had, like, work from home?
Exactly.
Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows what they're doing.
You think, again, it goes back to faking it, right? You see your parents and you see them adulting and you think they have it all together. And you're like, yeah, no, once I turn this age, everything is going to click.
Yeah.
And then you turn that age and nothing clicks. You're like, I'm still a teenager that has to go to work and gets money, and then I got to know how to pay bills and like, right? We're all faking our way through life. Let's be honest, right? So like, I see everything as a learning lesson. None of us are perfect. Things are going to happen. Have that expectation that things are not going to go your way. Be prepared, because I would say, especially when you're a small business owner, 9 times out of 10, things don't go the way you planned them.
That's
right?
so true.
You might limit yourself. You might say, I have a goal of $500 to sell today, and then you sell 1,000, right? Maybe you sell 250, right? And some people will look at that 250 like, damn, I didn't reach my goal. I found, no, you sold 250. You still have people that came and bought from your brand, right? So I would always say, don't let that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instances where you heard the no get you down.
Yeah.
Try it out. Do whatever you need to do. Do the sage, the Palo Santo. Do whatever you need to do to get yourself back up. Feel the feelings, because the feelings need to be felt for you to move on. But then dust yourself off, get back on that horse, and continue to push forward, because there's something so much bigger waiting for you. The way my goals have come into fruition, I never see it coming. And after it happens, because I'm always looking at the negative, right? I'm always looking like, dang, like I didn't get this. Okay, let's keep pushing. Oh my God, this didn't happen this way. Let's keep pushing. And as I've gotten older, I start to see everything I've planned come into fruition in different ways. Not in the way that I have planned, but in different ways, in different timelines. Maybe not as grand of a gesture as I expected it to be, right? And then I sit back and I'm like, this is what I wanted. I got it. It happened, right? So I would say always keep trying. Get back up and continue to try. That 10th time will be your yes.
Right?
And I can guarantee you that.
And it's usually the way the magic happens is that you least expect it, or you thought you totally blew it, or you just come out thinking negative and it's bam.
Yes.
It's blossom.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that is also something that I wanted to ask you about, right? Because dusting yourself and trying again when things don't really work out the first time, being okay with evolving, being okay with pivoting, being okay with, growing with your business. Maybe you started your business, and not you literally, but I mean, somebody starts their business and they think they want it to only stick to accessories. And then they realize, oh, wait, I want to branch this out. I don't want to be a brand just accessory. I want to actually have clothing. I want to build out the entire look. And, some people I've heard just folks talking about like them feeling really confused, like knowing that they have a big idea for their business and they know the quality and, how awesome their stuff is, but they're scared to branch off because they feel like they haven't succeeded with that one thing that they started. How can they branch off? How can they change? Just the whole idea of change and pivoting and evolving into something else is going to feel uncomfortable. But then also, like, where does that leave with your business, right? So you have had Unbothered for a very long time, right? And then, but before Unbothered, you actually came on to the scene in a whole nother still in beauty, fashion, you're in Cali, you're like in the Mecca, right? So it's like, but you had a pivot, you had an evolution of sorts that brought you to where you are now with Unbothered, right? So do you want to talk about that? Because I think it's super interesting.
Yeah. So again, I knew I always wanted to be in fashion. And at some point, I figure when content creation started to really become a thing, that I will be okay with kind of being like the styling, makeup, like showing people how to dress, how to do their makeup, how to do their hair, going through my natural hair journey with people online. I thought was really going to be how I came into the fashion space, because to me, they all go together with fashion.
Yeah.
Like accessories, with hair, the way you do your makeup or don't do your makeup, that all affects your outfit, right? The way you're portraying yourself that day. So that's kind of how I felt I was gonna go, and then it just didn't fulfill that. I need to put a brand out there. It that never went out of my brain. I was always like, no, but I need to put a brand out there. I need to do this. It's not gonna go away. And so, as much as I love content creation, it gives me a very good creative outlet, and I still love it. I have pivoted my content, like we were talking a little bit earlier. It's like I don't wear as much makeup anymore. You know, I feel the most comfortable when I'm not wearing makeup, actually, when I'm just in my bare skin. I work really hard to keep the face clear.
You do a beautiful
We're
job,
gonna show
Bella.
it.
Bella.
Thank
Bellissima.
you. But it's all about growing and evolving and knowing that life doesn't stay stagnant, right? And being open to the possibilities. Because if I would have completely shut down, so if I look at the timeline, I wanted to go to Parsons. Parsons is a huge fashion college, right? Couldn't do that. Parsons is really expensive, and I just couldn't go to that school. Moved to LA, then couldn't immediately get into the fashion brand thing. Even with my brand, there was a lot of things that went wrong before I could launch it. And if I look at that, I wouldn't have a brand, but because I was open-minded and I pivoted and I tried different avenues, and I think that's very important to like scratch off those ifs, right? But what if I just do this instead of that? What if I do that? So I've done so many things, but it's because I'm like trying to figure out if this is my ultimate goal. Is this really what I want to do? Is putting out a brand really my calling? Or can I do fashion through this avenue? Can I do beauty through this avenue? And so I just experimented, and I love content creation, but being a brand owner is truly my first love. So I do both. I do many things actually. I do both, but it just I feel like it's content creation was just a way for me to solidify who I am as a person, and also that I did want to have a brand out there in the fashion space.
I think it also kind of helps you too, because people get to know you, right? So they connect with you. And then you already have loyalists going into the brand, you know? So that, again, back to what you were saying, like everything connects, whether intentionally or not, by higher
Yes.
sources that be. Everything intertwines and
Everything.
connects.
Yeah. You're exactly where you need to be at this right time. And
Right
that's
on.
something I tell everybody. I'm like, and I have to tell that to myself, because it's not something that you want to hear all the time. And it's not something that you think about all the time. But like, especially when you see people your same age in different wavelengths as you, maybe in a better position, maybe in a worse off position, you have to always remind yourself that you're at the place that you need to be right now. And that's what matters. Because if I would have started this brand a lot sooner, for example, I wouldn't have known the terms that factories use. I wouldn't have known that you can request samples. I wouldn't have known that you can negotiate prices. I wouldn't have known how to do any of that. And the job that I've had led me to learn all those things. So as frustrating as it was not being able to put a brand out sooner, and sitting there and be like, I'm 25 and look, I haven't accomplished my dream of being a brand owner. I'm 26, I'm 27, I'm 28, like it truly happened when it needed to happen and not a moment sooner. And I'm grateful for that. Now looking back, like it is frustrating when you're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
But when you look back, you're like, no, I would have probably messed that up big time.
Yeah, I laugh because I feel that on 1,000 levels. On 1,000 levels. So let's talk about where you want to take Unbothered. Where do you see the brand, or where do you want to take the brand in 5 years from now?
Yeah, so I would love to be in the retail space in 5 years from now. I would love to expand it, maybe do capsule collections of like more collectible items, and keep it unisex, but find those collectible items that people can buy, like vintage. I want to continue it in the comfort, but grow it in a way where, like, again, you can wear this to any event in your life, right? By putting the pieces together. So I think that will be the next step for the brand, is to figure out how to take it to a higher level, and then also in the future start adding those capsule products, those vintage, those collectibles that people can add to their closet, and again, keep it for a long, long time.
And I love that. I love the fact that you emphasize the fact of having quality garments that you can have for a long time, because something that I used to be a stylist specifically for trunk club that was styling men, right? We would send trunks of clothes to guys, okay, that needed help with clothes, but they were very pricey clothes. So one of the philosophies that I took from that job, and not only share it with everybody that I can, but I use it in my day-to-day, is a cost per use, right? Like, back to your point, you could get something cheap, but how many times are you going to have to buy that over and over again? If you get quality clothes, you keep it for a long time, cost per use. And then all of a sudden, it's like when you do that equation in your head and you've worn a really good, awesome, timeless piece, great quality for at least 10 times, do the math. Like, it comes out like way cheaper than you can ever get any cheap garment, you know? So
Exactly.
cost per use, whenever
Yes.
cost per use is really, really key when it comes to, like, you know, when you're like, should I spend this much money on that?
100%. And I think and that's what number one thing for me, because I was so gung-ho about sampling every single item that I put out. Every single item that comes out in the brand, I've worn for months. I've tested it,
That's
I've
awesome.
washed it, I've like pulled it. I've done anything you can think of. And I don't separate my laundry. So it was also important for me that you did not need to separate these.
Let that be known. You do
Because
not.
I don't separate my laundry.
You
Okay?
don't need to separate the clothes that you get from Unbothered.
Yes,
That could all go
exactly.
together.
It can all go together. So, like, I have shirts that I've had for the entire, before the brand even went live.
Oh
Like,
my
months
God.
before the brand even went live, and they still look brand new, right? And so, like, that, as a consumer, that's all I can ask for, is to have something that's gonna last me a long time, because again, I value every single penny people spend on the brand. And so if you come to me with the money you've worked so hard for, and I consciously can't sell you a garment that you're not going to be able to wear more than a couple times, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the cost per use is a huge thing. And I think that looking for the brands, not only my brand, there's a lot of brands out there now that are really putting a lot of thought into their product. Just looking for those brands is truly where you can start to construct that closet that's going to last you a long time, because trends come and go. But if once you find your personal style, you start to collect those pieces, you can technically participate in any trend, because you will have a piece that will be part of that trend. You know, you don't need to have 1,000 items. And I love shopping. Don't get me wrong. I love me some shopping. But like, you don't need to have 1,000 items. You can collect those items that are going to just make your closet very, very versatile. And,
Yep.
and again, I want it Unbothered to be part of those items and part of that collectible piece, or that investment piece, even though my pieces are not expensive, but I see them as an investment because you're going to have them for a long time.
What's your favorite piece within your brand right now, in your collection right now?
That's hard. Say our acid wash sweatshirts, I wear them all the time. They're so soft. They're so
Ooh.
soft. I wear them all the time. The sweatpants too. But if I had to pull out a most worn item, it would be the acid wash sweatshirt.
All right. I'm gonna check that out. I melt with a good sweatsuit. A good sweatshirt crew or hoodie or comfy pants. Comfort is queen. That is what makes me happy. I gotta check that out. All right. And where can people find Unbothered?
So we're on Instagram, TikTok, even though TikTok, I don't know where that stands, but we're on Instagram and TikTok. Instagram is Unbothered Fashion, at Unbothered Fashion, and TikTok is Unbothered FH, and that's UMBTHRD. And then our webpage is unbotheredfashion.com. So you can find us anywhere if you're in California. If you're in SoCal specifically, let me not say. We do offer in-person shopping experience. We do local pickup, local delivery within, I believe, a 15-mile radius of our office. So hit us up. We're available.
Even retailers.
Yeah, last minute birthday shopping or something.
There we go. And to all of those local shops that want to have and carry an amazing brand, woman-owned, holler at Sol, Unbothered, get that in your racks, in your store. We'll make sure that all of your contact information will be in the show notes. But before we go, I just wanted to ask you, what would you give last words of advice, right? Like, what would you give Sol at the age of, let's say, 29, about to hit her 30th birthday? What would you tell someone that's like, oh my God, looking at themselves, like where we at right now? Think of where you were at 29 going into your 30th birthday. What would you tell that Sol?
I'm going to say something that I still tell myself to this day, and that has been a theme of my life for the past couple of years, is that your life doesn't end at 30.
Yeah, it does not.
Yes.
It does not.
Like, we have this pressure. I don't know what it is. Like, a lot of us were like, I need to be married by 25 and have the kids and have the house and da da da. And then if I get to 30 and I don't have all of that, my life is over. It's fine. You'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. I think Oprah didn't actually become successful until 40 years old or something, or had to restart over at 40. So, like, it's never too late to restart. You can always change course. You can always pivot. And your life doesn't end at any age. You can do anything at any age. We now see people in their 60s being fashion content creators, and that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
That wasn't something that was available to them in their younger years.
And they have style. They have style.
They do, and they decided to do it now in their later years, and that's totally fine. You never have to let go of your dream. You can continue to work through it. There's no deadline. We put deadlines on ourselves, right? But there's truly no deadline. Like, you can work on whatever you want at any age. Truthfully, you see kids flourishing at like 10 years old. They come up with this crazy concept and they form a company, obviously with like people behind them, but like still. Right? And then you see people in their 60s just starting their dreams. So I would say your life doesn't end at 30. You have plenty of time. Just keep on working at your goal.
Age is energy, y'all. That's all that it is. But I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Sol. I appreciate you and all of your words of wisdom, opening up, sharing all about Bothered, and all of your wise words. Again, you guys, I would highly recommend that you follow, that you get on this journey with Unbothered, when you get on this journey with Sol. And I have gotten 2 of her feel-good songs that I will be adding on to the playlist that is going to be available within the show notes as well. But thank you so much, Sol, from the bottom of my heart. I'm so happy we were able to connect. And I hope to bring you on again so that we can talk about all of the growth and the awesome, amazing things that have take place after this even airs with yourself and the brands. Thank you so much. And if you guys like this episode, I ask from the bottom of my heart that you please rate us, share this episode with someone that will enjoy it, that can actually get value from it as much as you did. And you can find us on where all podcasts are played, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can get in touch with me if you would like to be a guest on Hustle and Heart, finding success on your own terms. Till next time, mi gente. Before you go, let's keep the conversation going. If today's episode resonated with you, then share it on your stories and tag me. I love seeing how these conversations land with you. And if you're ready for more, I welcome you to join my newsletter community where I share exclusive insights, mindset shifts, and tools to help you grow not just your mindset, but small biz too. All the details are in the show notes. This is Vanessa Betances signing off. Keep building, keep believing, and keep showing up for your dreams, mi gente.